She's still too afraid to talk.
Ebru won't leave her room to join her mother and 4 siblings. The 16-year-old doesn't want her face to appear on TV because she's ashamed and very afraid. In November, Ebru was supposed to be married off out of revenge. Her father had run off with his teenage lover, and the girl's family wanted restitution. They demanded his eldest daughter, Ebru, marry one of their sons. When Ebru refused, they threatened to kill her. Here in southeastern Turkey, many view honor killings as part of their tradition.
They came to our door and said, "We'll take your daughter. You'll never see her again." They might have even killed her too. I didn't know what else to do but to call the TV station.
In her despair, Ebru's mother contacted a TV show. They let her tell her hair-raising story on air. Women's rights organizations learned of the case and alerted the authorities. Working together, they convinced the other family to give up their demands, thereby saving Ebru's life.
But for a long time, she didn't want to go to school. Recently, she said, "Mama, they drove by me at the bus stop." She still believes she's being targeted.
A graveyard for those without families, the final resting place for many victims of honor killings. Zeynep Demir has attended many burials here, like that of 35-year-old Aysegel Alpaslan. Her husband killed her for going out alone too often. Although he'd announced plans to kill her in advance, no one tried to save Aysegel. Her funeral turned into a silent protest against honor killings. These courageous Kurdish women called attention to a brutal tradition which, on average, still claims the life of one victim every week in Turkey. In a recent survey here, 22% of the men questioned said it was justified to kill women for committing adultery.
We say we're women and not someone else's honor. We have our own honor to defend. Our honor is our freedom. That's the motto we use at our protests and events across the country.
The work of women's groups is beginning to bear fruit. In Diyarbakir alone, there are now around a dozen centers in which women can seek protection or educate themselves. Educational campaigns have given women the courage to ask for help. Many of the projects are funded by the European Union, but the Turkish state has also taken action. In Diyarbakir, the police have started to cooperate with women's organizations, and tougher sentences were introduced to punish honor killings. Still, women's rights activists say it's not enough.
2 years ago, the government ordered all public authorities to step up their efforts to stop violence against women. We welcomed this at the time, but there have still been a lot of problems putting these regulations into practice locally.
A few judges are still willing to excuse honor killings and let the accused go free. So the women's rights activists from Diyarbakir still have a lot of work to do.
Right now, we're mainly concentrating on preventing early forced marriage. They ruin girls' chances for development and leave them at the mercy of men. Because these early marriages are always arranged ones, we try to influence the families and the way they raise their girls early on.
Melahat Gökçe was forced to marry at 15. Today she's 31 and has 5 children. Now she's saved her daughter Ebru from a similar fate, and even saved her life by having had the courage to speak out. Hers is a small victory in the battle to eliminate honor killings.
Slow progress.